shall we? So in the last class we have gone through the basic fundamentals. What is the basic first fundamental, ma? Definition of cost. What is the definition of cost? Amount of expenditure, basically what is incurred. And what about second one, ma? Costing. Ascertainment of cost. What about cost accounting, ma? Whatever costs we are incurring, we are accounting in the form of records. Then it is nothing but cost accounting. What about management accounting, ma? Accounting plus financial management. If there's two together combined, it is used by whom, ma? Mainly management. For what purpose? For the sake of decision making. And what about next one, ma? Cost management. Mainly three aspects of cost. What are those three aspects, ma? Plan, monitor, control. We plan for a cost, we implement it. That is, we implement, then we monitor it, whether it's going as per plan or not. And finally, if it is deviating, we control it. Three aspects. Okay. And what about the objectives of cost? First objective, ascertainment of cost. So what is the cost and how we are calculating? What about second one, ma? Determining the selling price. That is cost plus profit. What about third one? Cost reduction. So what about reduction? Temporary or permanent? Real and permanent reduction. Okay. And what about D? Cost control. Sir, we are giving targets to some employees. What is their main motive? To maintain the same cost. That is cost control. Sir, here what is the concept applied there? Standard deviation. What does that mean, ma? Standards are compared with the actuals. At the year end, they calculate standard cost and actual cost and they can compare. If there is a difference, what is the reason? Whether it's adverse or favorable. If it is adverse, something more than what we are expecting, then it's of no use. Okay. Next, what about last one, ma? For what purpose? Decision making. Whether make by ourselves or whether we can buy from outside or we can outsource. So what is the difference? Next question. Difference between cost reduction and cost control. Sir, they are much important. They can ask for a theory question. In theory questions point of view, they are important. Difference between cost control and cost reduction. Okay. Now, what is a cost object? Cost object means
separate management of cost is calculated.
Or for which we are calculating. For in this case, we are calculating cost for the bottle, or we can calculate the cost for. Okay. And what can be the things, ma, product? In the case of product's point of view, it can be mobile, tablet, and all. For that we calculate cost. What about service, ma? Transport. Okay. Education. For them also we calculate cost. And what about projects, ma? Metro project or bridge. Okay. So based on the cost object, they are classified into two categories. If it is identifiable with the product, it is direct. If it is not identifiable, it's an indirect. Okay. So in this case of this furniture, what is identifiable, ma?
Plastic.
These things which are visible to us, they are identifiable. They are what, ma? Direct. So here there is some other process are used. For example, for the sake of cutting machine, we are using the cutting machine and it is working with the fuel. That fuel is also a material, but is it visualized here?
No.
So they are indirect expenditures. Okay. And what about cost unit? What is the cost unit, ma?
Unit of product.
It's a measurement unit. So how we measure iron? What about electricity? Kilowatts. What about petrol? Gallon. Or sometimes in the case of barrels also. What about cement, ma? Kg, sunrise. So these are nothing but unit of measurements. That is cost unit. Okay. What about cost driver? Whatever by cost of which our cost is increasing or decreasing is nothing but cost driver. Okay. So for me, basically, I am being driven by the number of teaching hours I am taking to you. Based on that, salary may increase or may decrease, or pay may increase, pay may decrease. Okay. And next, what about next one, ma? So based on element, we are having three categories. What are those three categories? Material cost, labor cost, our expenses. So material can be again bifurcated into two categories. What are those, ma? Direct and indirect. Whichever is directly traced is direct cost. Whichever is not traced directly will be indirect cost. Okay. So for you, what is the salary of watchman? Is it directly traced?
No.
Because for this entire building, he is the security. And different organizations are being run in this entire apartment or this entire complex. Then for us, how much? For an ILT. And for ILT, each student, how much? Can you trace it directly? No. When we cannot trace it directly and all, that will be indirect. So that will be having a different strategy to calculate the part of the cost to be added. Okay. Next. What is next one, ma? Direct. What is the meaning of direct cost? Can be traced to a cost object. Straight away we can see it. By seeing this furniture, what are we identifying? Key parts.
Wood.
Okay, so these are straight away direct identified. So they are forming part of direct. Okay, that to direct material. And sir, in this case, we are having the wood, but there is no worker to make it. Can we make the? Can it be done by itself? So there is a requirement of some labor there. So that labor which is required to make this it and is present there and it is mandatory. Then that category will be what? Direct labor. And security for the stores or security for the godown will be indirect labor. Okay, so these are the few areas. Now, this is important. Take the heading more. Based on function. So write it on a fresh page. If you are writing on a fresh page, because there will be a cost sheet connected to it. Based on function. So what is this?
Factory.
A factory. For example, in this factory we are manufacturing some cloth. Okay. Sir, here by manufacturing cloth and all, what you can conclude? This factory is mainly for what purpose? Cloth business when we are manufacturing and all. Cloth is a main one, main material. Okay. Sir, what is the raw material for cloth then?
Threads.
Depends. It depends upon scenario. The thread can be or any other thing can be. Cotton also can be. Okay. So it's a raw material. So straight away on the end product, for example, these are towels. Assume that they are towels. They are manufacturing something. For this, what is the main material, ma? Cotton or threads or whatever required. They are mandatory and they are identified. That is the first part. First part is what, ma? Material. Next, sir, in the case of factory, if there is material present and there are no workers, can we manufacture the goods which we need?
No.
There are some staff. That is directly we require staff. If we are not manufacturing them, we don't need that staff. So they are also connected to what, ma? The goods. Directly they are connected to the goods. And here, while manufacturing, we incur some sort of expenditure which is incurred only because of manufacture. So three things I said. First, what, ma? Raw material, cloth raw material. And there is a requirement of staff like labor, skilled, semi-skilled or unskilled. So they are needed only because we are making production. And we are also need some sort of basic straight away direct expenditure connected to production. We are incurring that expenditure because of what, ma? Only because of production. If there is no production, there is no such expenditure. Then such expenditure will be direct. Three direct expenditures I mentioned. What is the first one, ma? Cloth. Next one? Staff. Next one? Any production expenditure related to the business itself. That is manufacturing and all. So three direct expenditures. What is the first one? Material. Staff is nothing but labor. And what about other production expenses? Nothing but direct expenses. So three are important. Okay. If these three are combined together, we are giving rise to something. Let us, shall we write this? Write as a chart, ma. Follow the same order.
Basic cost sheet.
Direct material, direct labor, direct expenses. So now, if you are adding these three, what are we getting? Cost. But what is that cost again? Primarily we are incurring some cost to manufacture the goods. So that is known as what, ma? Prime cost. So right there, ma.
Primarily we are incurring. Okay.
Mainly if there is no production and all, we will not incur. So that's the reason. So it is prime cost. So for example, this is the factory. What are we manufacturing here, ma? We are manufacturing CA inter students. Okay. So basically in manufacturing of CA inter students, we are direct labor.
Yes.
So and there are some sort of indirect labor also that is not required as of discussion, and direct material. For example, the material given by us or used by us, the goods which we are using to give the education, example tab, mainly for us. Okay, and direct expenses, some expenditure we are incurring mainly because of the class. If there is no class, we will not incur some expenditure. For example, projector. Will we use the projector if there is no class? No. But if there is a class, we are using it. That is the case of service industry. But if we are manufacturing this unit, we are manufacturing mobiles. What are we manufacturing? Mobiles. For a mobile, there is some sort of required materials. It can be plastic or silicon or different chips and all. Because of mobile itself, we are purchasing them. So what is the category? Direct material. For making the mobiles, we need some staff. For making mobile, we need staff. If you are not manufacturing mobile, we are not required of staff. What is that staff known as? Labor. That to which labor? Direct labor. So here direct labor is nothing but wages we are paying. How much salary we are paying for them? That will be direct labor part. Sir, and direct expenses. This expenditure is basically incurred exclusively for the product. If no product manufacture, no such expenditure. That is 3. What are those 3? Direct material, direct labor, direct expenses. What is the combination there? Prime cost. This is the basic part. Sir, while you are making or manufacturing goods, only these 3 costs are incurred or any additional costs are incurred? Any additional cost? Any additional cost? Sir, here in this premises, we are manufacturing mobile. But we are also, in the day one, we are cleaning the room. Is it related to product? But we are incurring. That to where we are incurring? In the factory itself. And also, it is not straight away connected to the product. Indirectly, in the same premises, we are using the premises for what? Production. So we are cleaning. And sometimes for machines, we may go for application of oil and all, grease and all. Is it known to you? For machines, we apply grease and all. And in this case, for example, for this entire premises, there is security staff. Is it the security is related to production? No. He is for the sake of security of entire building. But this factory, it has a guard. Okay. Even if we are incurring production or not, we incur that part. That is indirect expenditure. Straight away, directly, we are not able to trace it with the cost. That will be known as what? Indirect expenditure. And where we are incurring this expenditure? In the factory. In the factory, we are incurring in addition to these 3 things. That will be nothing but what head? Indirect. But something I said. At the factory, I am incurring overheads are incurred not because of the main production and all, but they are required and we cannot identify. What is this known as? Factory overheads. So for a prime cost, we are adding what? Factory overheads. What is the end result? Other than the guys who are knowing, any of the 3 guys can try. Other the guys who are knowing, other guys can try. Because if prime cost is common, so for that what we are adding? Factory. And in the factory, what are we doing? In this factory, what are we doing? We are doing production plus we are incurring additional expenditure. This entire part is nothing but cost incurred in the factory. Is known as what? Factory cost. Cost incurred in the factory, entire cost is nothing but what is that? Factory cost. Sir, I am not just giving the pro forma, I am giving the reason also. So remember the reasons. Why and where. So now one more thing, in this building and that too in the ILT Academy, we are having office premises. What is the purpose of office premises?
Management, administration.
So who is the head of this basically? Nikhil sir, you are having the knowledge basically. Okay. Sir is spending some time for each class. Is he spending more?
No.
Is he spending? He's spending some time. He's supervising what you are doing. Okay. Whether you are doing right or not, these things are being dealt. And for that premises, we are incurring rent. But that rent is what, for what sake? For office we are incurring rent, no? For office we are incurring the rent. What is the purpose of that rent?
Administration.
What the? Administration. To administer this, to manage these things, we are incurring that cost. So what is that cost known as? Administration cost. But can we use the word cost or overhead? And this cost will be charged over the head of you guys. Over your head it will be charged in fees we are collecting. So for that it is nothing but admin overhead. Office we are incurring some expenditure. See, for example, in the case of factory also there will be some premises to manage the factory. There will be some office. So whatever office expenditure is incurred is for the sake of that factory. But they are managing it and they are administering it. So that is known as what ma? Admin overhead. The next overhead which we are dealing is what ma? Administration and office overheads, or office and administration overheads. What is the head there? Officer and administration overheads. What is the first part we discussed about? Direct. All direct. What are those first direct one? Direct labor, direct material, direct expenses. Sir, direct labor is for nothing but for the sake of workers. And direct material is for nothing but raw material or productions or purchases. Whatever we are making, that will be forming part of direct material. And anything related to those expenses will be direct expenses. And combinedly together known as what ma? Prime cost. For that what we are adding ma? We are incurring some sort of factory overheads that we are adding, and finally what we are getting? Cost incurred at the factory. And for that there is some sort of managed office and all. That office is also because of what? Factory. What are we doing? Adding that factory cost to the office overheads to the factory cost. That will be now finally what is it not known as ma? Cost of production. What is that summary known as? Cost of a production. So can you give the meaning of what is the cost of production? Cost incurred for producing the goods. Okay, for producing goods, whatever cost we are incurring, nothing is but cost of production. So after producing, what we do basically? After producing, what we do? Will we keep the goods in the godown itself, or what process we do? We sell it. How we sell it? Transport or still? Sir, for example, what is your name? Ram. Ram is manufacturing mobiles. He manufactured 1,000 mobiles. Now he kept in the godown. Now will the mobiles get wings and they will be sold by themselves? What he has to do? Transport to the market.
Selling expenses.
What selling expenses? Advertisement. What is advertisement? To get our product known to the public, we give some sort of basic information. Sir, without advertisement, can you sell the product basically? Without knowing regarding, will the buyer buy it? No. So we are incurring some expenditure to sell the product. Manufacturing is done, sir. At factory, everything is done. And some overheads are incurred, that is factory cost. And again, some sort of management is also required. So that is administration overheads. Finally, we got the cost of production. For producing goods, we got the cost. But for making sales, what will incur? For making the sales, what we incur? Selling expenditure. That is known as what ma? Selling. So in this case, if they want to sell this drink and all, what they will do ma? Advertisements with a Ram. By projecting Ram, they are giving some sort of advertisement like Mahesh Babu, Ram. Or else Is it advertisement or not? It's advertisement expense. For what purpose? To get the product sold. Okay, so this is nothing but selling and distribution overhead. Selling and distribution overhead. Even you said something regarding transportation now. Even transportation also forming part of this. Sir, what is the end result? Cost of goods sold. COGS. Or cost of sales. Can you summarize the sheet once? First, what is the first part there?
Direct material, direct labor, direct expenses.
That will be forming part of prime cost. For prime cost, what are we adding? Factory overheads. And we are getting what? Factory cost. And next we are getting what? Office and administration overheads. What are we getting? Cost of production. For producing the goods, what cost we incurred. And next, what is this? That is what is cost of sales or cost of goods sold. So for here, there can be adding of profit and we get what?
Selling price.
Sales. Okay. That not required basically because we are not dealing with the financial parts, so dealing with the costing part. So for this they add profit, they will get something called sales. Okay, that is secondary. This is a basic cost sheet. It has no opening stock, no closing stock. Normally in the first part there is direct material now. For this there will be something like opening stock of purchases or opening stock of raw material. There will be, and here we adjust for something regarding to work in progress, and at the end somewhere in this scenario itself we add finished goods, clothing stock, opening stock, but these are not considered here. It's a basic sheet because cost sheet is a separate topic for us. It is a separate topic. Okay, but before learning what is meant by cost, what to do before solving a cost sheet problem and all, we have to get the basic meanings. What is meant by basic cost and all? Okay, is it clear with this cost sheet? Okay, so based on cost sheet, what is the first cost? Prime cost or factory cost. How to get factory cost? Prime cost plus factory overheads. How to get cost of production?
Factory cost plus office and administration.
Overheads will get. Next, what about cost of sales? Selling and distribution overheads plus cost of production. So this is the basic fundamental cost sheet. Next, take down the next heading. Based on variability. Based on variability is important. Sir, done with the heading. Sir, what is the meaning of varies? Varies. Varies. Or changes. Okay. So variability is nothing but how the cost is changing. Whether it is changing fixed or not. Based on that we are having three categories. The very first category is there is one cost which will not change with output. For example, the rent for this building or rent for this flat, this office premises. Will it change based on number of students? No. Will not change. Okay. So first you listen then in brackets you can write because explanation will be different and what you need to write is different. So what is the point there? Does not change with output. In this class, what will not change with the number of students? Rent. Pay for lectures also same. Next. Electricity, sir. I am using fan. Example. I am using fan. There is only one student. I am using fan. There is 20 students. Is it changing? Normally.
Yeah. No, not one fan.
Normally, in the terms of rent, will it change?
No.
Will not change. But material cost, how it will change? For example, for you, I have to issue material. So there are 4 students. How much material I should issue? 40. So based on students, if it is changing, it is some category. So the first cost which we are discussing will never change with the output. Whatever be the output, it remains same. Okay. So what is that cost known as fixed cost? Write that one, please. Sir, is the water cans used here, is it a fixed cost or variable cost? Water can.
Variable.
The cost of the can is fixed, but how many cans?
How many cans?
Variable. It is
It changes based on
students.
the students are in more, and if the temperature is more, it will automatically change. Okay. On Sunday, will not. Why? Because there are no students. So based on some unit of measurement, if it is changing, it is a different category. But if it is not changing, then it is which category? Fixed. Fixed or examples like, for example, classroom rent. Okay. And for example, how the projector is being used there. Depreciation for projector, is it fixed or change on number of students?
Fixed.
Sir, if there is one student, same usage. And if there are 50 students, same usage. Okay. So it depends how it varies on all secondary category. Prima facie, we are getting fixed part. Okay. Next. Take down the next part now. Variable cost. What is a variable cost? Means quite opposite to fixed cost. So any examples?
Chairs.
Number of chairs, how they are used based on students. Materials to be issued based on
Students.
okay. And still any other variable cost in the class? In the class, any examples for variable cost? Or in this building,
In this building, variable.
any examples for variable cost?
Chairs.
Chairs done. If we go with service industry, these are the cases. After that, go with the point.
In the building. This one what you said. Maintenance charges. बस वो तो लगेगा ना कैसे भी करना है वो तो लगेगा
That is fixed.
वो तो fixed है
What about salary of a security guard there?
that's fixed
Fixed. Even if you are increasing, there is no impact on that. Okay. So what?
electricity charges which for the premises which are of no use right now
Okay. What about the printer charges?
Yes.
Printer usage. If the students are increasing, printer usage also will increase. So it is fixed or variable? Variable. Sir, in the case of organization also, if you see the furniture example there, sir, in the case of furniture, basically raw material of furniture, that is wood, is it fixed or variable? Fixed or variable?
According to the size.
So for example, I am manufacturing all 50
raw material
tables. Raw material of the wood, that is wood for the table and all, is it fixed or variable?
Variable.
variable changes according to your
Changes
production
the number of.
I am manufacturing 50. Each log, for example, one log is required for entire table assumption, 1 into 50. But if it is increasing, 1 into 100, I am multiplying with the number of units. So variable cost totally is changing based on what number of units manufactured or service given, depending upon service industry or a manufacturing industry. Okay, so write the points there. It changes based on changes with output. Based on what it changes, based on output. Any gap there, buddy? For fixed cost, is there any gap? At least here in brackets, is there a space? Yes. There you write, ma. Constant for a total. Constant for total.
Total.
But here, in the case of variable cost, per unit it is constant. So for example, this premises rent is, for this room rent it is 50k. Now normally they will divide based on how much, 50k divided by number of students. So here 50k divided by, for example, that